This videocast is about mental health. If that subject makes you feel rather uncomfortable, or you feel it's got nothing to do with you, I'd urge you to watch the rest of the videocast so that you think again about it. 1 in 5 women and 1 in 7 men will have some sort of mental health problem at some point in time during their life, and it may be enduring for much of their life. That means it's almost certain that a close friend or relative of you will have had some sort of mental health problem or might do so in the future. The other issue why mental health is really important, there's still a huge amount of stigma about it. People don't tend to talk about it. 30 years ago that was the case with cancer. We've seen huge changes in attitudes towards cancer. We need to see the same changes in attitudes in mental health. Please watch the rest of the video cast and learn a bit more about mental health. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Nancy Kurisa. I'm John Jackson's PA and I'm a mental health first aider. You've probably not heard of mental health first aid as it's a fairly new initiative, and I'm going to tell you a bit more about that later on. I'm interested in mental health issues for a variety of reasons, not just because I work for social and community services. Outside of work, I'm a volunteer coordinator at the Oxford Gatehouse, which is a cafe for the homeless and vulnerable. Many of the people who use the Gatehouse have a variety of complex mental health problems. I spend a lot of time talking to the people who use the Gatehouse, and I've seen firsthand the devastating effect mental illness can have on someone's lives. However, mental health illness isn't just about service users we support, it's also about us, and that's where mental health first aid comes in. Did you know that 1 in 4 British adults have at least one diagnosable mental health illness at some point in their life? That means if you're lucky enough not to have suffered from a mental health illness, I'm sure you know someone who has. And also, if you haven't suffered from a mental health illness, I'm sure you can think of a time in your life when you felt mentally distressed. Maybe you felt overly anxious about something or just a bit down. I'm going to stop talking for a minute and I'm going to hand you over to Wendy, Paskell and Katherine Snowdon.
Okay, my name is Wendy Paskell and I manage what's now called the Approved Mental Health Professional Service. We used to be called Approved Social Workers. The people who work for me are at the moment almost 100% people who are social workers in background, and they work all across the whole of the County Council in all areas, not just mental health. Although we do now have the pride to say that we have one nurse who's qualified. What our job is really to pick up situations when they have reached a point where no other solution can be found. Obviously people who've got serious mental health problems and where it's no longer possible to manage them safely in the community, for example. So when we get a referral here into this office, that approved mental health professional, we call them AMHPs for short, becomes 100% responsible for that piece of work, and they will see it through right to the absolute completion. One of the things that we do, and that's very important, is trying to understand the person's circumstances. We are, most of us, social workers by background, so we work in a holistic way. And we will get as much information and background as possible to look at what has come to this situation where basically the doctors are saying the person they believe needs to be detained under the Mental Health Act. We will then set up the assessment. I won't go into details of that, but it can be very tricky, especially when they own geese and chickens and things like that. And we will follow it right through to its conclusion. Whatever happens at the end, and we are always looking at managing the situation in the least restrictive, so we're not going out with the intention to detain people. But at the end of that, we will always produce a report, and I think a number of doctors have said to me, if they're not sure what's been happening with their client, they'll actually look through the files for one of my AMHPs reports because it will give them the best ever picture of that person's circumstances.
My name is Katherine Snowdon and I am manager of the Staff Care Service, which is a counselling service which exists for all staff in the County Council. If you haven't heard about the Staff Care Service, I hope that after watching this video cast that you will take your time and look up staff care on the intranet. In terms of mental health issues, what we are offering to staff is an opportunity to explore how you are feeling, whether it be low about things that are going on at work or at home, whether you're feeling stressed, again about personal or work issues, that we offer a service that intervenes at a very early stage so that you don't go on to develop a proper depression or become so stressed that you need to go off work. We believe that it's very important that people have this service offered to them in order to avoid becoming ill. That I think that the statistics about people developing depression and particularly stress tell us that actually early intervention means that you can sort out those issues and that it avoids becoming ill, and that's what the staff care service is about.
A mental health first aider is there to informally support a colleague who may be suffering from a mental health problem and to raise awareness of mental health issues in the workplace. Employees are taking 70 million days sick a year due to problems such as stress, anxiety and depression. A mental health first aider has the same kind of role as a physical first aider. We're not trained therapists, but we can provide comfort and support to a colleague who may be suffering from a mental health problem and to help prevent that problem turning into something more serious. Also, a really important role of a mental health first aider is to reduce the stigma and discrimination that surrounds mental health issues. The long-standing stigma and discrimination means that many people's knowledge of mental health issues is very limited. A lot of people who have been diagnosed with a mental health problem say that the stigma they face because of their diagnosis is a lot harder to manage than the actual symptoms of the illness. Look, we need a lot more mental health first aiders in the workforce, and we also need a lot more mental health awareness training across all directorates. If you'd like to find out more, please get in touch. I'd really like to hear from you.